Yep,
Right.
you're good.
Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody. This is Stefano. I'm a front-end developer working at GeoSolutions, mainly on the MapStore core repo. So working on I worked also in this ongoing release that we are presenting today. And before to introduce the new features and improvement that we had in MapStore, I would like to introduce MapStore itself to this application. So what is MapStore? MapStore is could be considered a product in terms of that it's a WebJS application. So you can go to the repo of MapStore 2, download the binary and try it also on your local machine. So it's a tool out of the box, a WebJS that it could be installed also on your server, that it's providing a wide range and set of plugins. And with plugins, I mean tools that allow you to interact with web maps, dashboard, or GeoStory. In this image, you can see that the main home page of MapStore when you download and start it or you install on your server. And this one is the common viewer that you can see in MapStore. So as a product allows also you to customize, so to use as is, if you don't need specific branding customization, or customize is extending it to fit and your branding and your theming. MapStore, it could be also used as a framework, and framework we mean that we are using components of MapStore to create interfaces that could interact with the backend and API that are different from the one provided out of the box from the MapStore 2 product itself. Here there are two examples where we use the main map functionality and action of MapStore. One is interacted with crime data. So we wanted to create a custom dashboard that has additional filter from the one provided by MapStore. So we created this customization. The same thing was done for a dashboard for the COVID tracking map. And in this case, we interact directly with API that was custom, and we were able to build all of this through the MapStore framework components and architecture. With MapStore, the main resources provided and that you can create are maps, charts, dashboard, and GeoStories. Has been built to be responsive both for the desktop and the mobile. So the plugin and functionality will adapt based on the screen size and device type. It's mapping engine agnostic. This means that there are few implementations in MapStore. So we have the implementation for open layers for 2D map visualization, Cesium for the 3D map, and Leaflet mainly to the 2D map on mobile. And the architecture of MapStore allows you to also implement different map libraries. So to extend this or to work with this and extend the functionality that are inside the core. The whole architecture is based on the React.js ecosystem. So it's using this framework to compose component and the UI itself. It's pluggable, means that you can start from the default product and extend it with new plugin. And you can also customize the look and feel. So if the base theme does not fit the use case, it could be customized also as colors, but also as, for example, the on-page hero or Jumbotron 2 and logos. It can consume different type of source data. Here there is a list of the main one that can be used inside MapStore. We have OpenStreetMap, Bing Maps, WFS, CSW, WMS, and WMTS. In this list, we could add more on these. There are the new one that starting to be included, like the 3D tiles for the 3D environment. And also there is ongoing work and investigation through the IFC, so MapStore, and it's continuously in improving and adding new support for new type of sources. Finally, it's the license. It's a simplified BSD, so it means that you can work with that also for a commercial-friendly application. Who uses MapStore? Here are some users of MapStore that are using MapStore in different ways. These users also helped the core to improve. Not they are using, but also some of them are helping the MapStore core environment to improve and to continue to add features to that. In particular, they're using both as a product and framework, and some cases like GeoNode or GeoOrchestra, there is an integration of MapStore in a different, let's say, environment. So it's a integrated user interface in a wider system. So MapStore is like really flexible to adapt to different use cases. Some example of integration of MapStore. The first one here is MapStand. The main focus is the visualization of energy data. So in this case, in GeoSolutions, we implemented through the MapStore framework a front end that was able to interact with a custom backend. So there was a need to use the MapStore map functionality integrated with a different backend. Another example is the city of Brussels. In this case, we want to highlight the fact that some functionality, like the street view, was implemented for an environment and then ported to the main core, so everybody could use that as in their own installation. Another example is Austro Control. Here the main focus is air navigation. So here the use of MapStore with some customization on the styling, plus some additional plugin added to the client itself. Here an example of the use of MapStore as is as a product, where the need is more focus on the map itself. MapStore could be used as is because it provides a catalog and managing of resources. In this case, the Arno River Basin Authority decided to use MapStore as is as a product. Finally, as an example, there are many more. Here are a few of them. The city of Genova, where we worked on the implementation of new features. They are using the MapStore product with some customization on the pages and some different system of authentication. So where allows also to use MapStore with different system. The main features of MapStore. MapStore, as soon as you download, for example, the binary as a product, the first page that show up is the home page with the catalog. This home page provide a list of all the saved resources and access to the user authentication functionalities and the creation resource functionalities. So as soon as you log in, for example, with the binary or a fresh installation of product, this page is empty, or with a sample map, just to give an idea or what you can do with MapStore. And the workflow in MapStore is the one represented in this image. We can create different type of resources. I mentioned before maps, dashboard, geostories, and context. I will explain what these are. So, but before to do that, I want to show the workflow expected in MapStore. So you can create from the home page resources. You can add the data that could come from different sources, the one that I mentioned before, or like WMS or OGC standard, or other different type of layer source, so they could be mixed together in the same viewer. Then it's possible to save and set permission based on groups to a single resource. So you can decide to make this resource private or not, or available only for a few users in your GeoPortal. Finally, you can share this content, and it could be shared in different ways, as is in the viewer or also in an embedded mode. So a version that it could be included in other web page, not the official MapStore one. Now I will list the different resources that you can create with some highlight on the functionality that you can find inside. The first one and is the map resource. The map resource open as a viewer where you have the main focus on the map itself, where you can add layers as background layers and overlay layers. You have control on the different wide set of tools to edit, change the styling, and also to inspect this data. Here a few plugins that we want to highlight. The first one is the timeline or ED elevation tool. When there is some data that could provide information about time range, it's possible, and you will see a plugin like the timeline that allows you to filter the data. You have the possibility to create a widget based on a layer source dataset. So based on a layer that you can have in a map, you can create a charts, a table, counters, or add information on top of that. There is a possibility to create a annotation directly from the map, and this annotation will be included and managed inside the MapStore map resource. Interesting also the tool like the compare tool. You can compare different layer and using the slider or the hourglass to highlight some, for example, to compare historic data with more recent one. And the measure and wizard style editor, also these two tools that allows to change style or measure content inside the map. I want to highlight also the measurement tool as an improvement also that allows you not just only to measure on the 2D visualization and environment, but also on the 3D one. The second resources in MapStore is the dashboard, where the focus is not anymore a single map, but it's possible to compile also multiple map or multiple charts, tables. So the widget could be composed inside a view and also connected and create sophisticated visualization. Here an example of the United States, the layer where we are showing some information that could be retrieved from the layer itself that inside that could be connected through the widget or a map. Another source is the GeoStories. Here the focus is more the storytelling, so a scrollable story where the content could be a different type of media. The main one are images, videos, and maps. That could be maps that are created directly inside your story or maps that you created before inside MapStore. So these allow to also focus on some topics and tell story. And in between, you can add information like through paragraph or add text to describe your presentation through these stories. Finally, the last resource is the context resource. This is a way to customize the map viewer. So the context resource allows to decide which plugin should be available inside a viewer. So here, there is a wizard that through this resource that make some plugin available. A user, an admin user, can decide which one of the plugin are available to the final user. This kind of approach, it's really useful when you want to create different context from different final user. So you can create simple viewer for a, let's say, user that it's not a technical one. So you can provide just the final visualization. Then you can configure and create contexts that are more focused to um, uh, technical final user. So you provide maybe the full MapStore viewer, or you can also extend the plugin available, because it's there's a possibility to create a new plugin that are not available in the core, added to a context. So there could be specific viewer that have a specific workflow for your use case. By default, the backend provided in MapStore as a management system for the user and groups. And this system could be also integrated with other systems like DAP and GeoServer or GeoFence. So there could be also an advanced way to connect user with different environment. Previously, we saw the default product main features, but you can also start from the main product and create your own downstream project. Downstream project means that you are using like a dependency, the main product, and you will add only your own customization. One of these could be simple customization, like I want a different styling of the theme. I want a few plugins added to my final viewer, to a completely, let's say, full customization where you could decide also to drop the default backend and connect to a custom one. Here there are some links, the official demo, where you can try out the product of MapStore. The user documentation, here we explain how you can interact with different tools. So there is an in-depth explanation on how they works. The GitHub repo, here you can download also the releases. You can see it's open source, so you can see also the code if you're interested in that, and the ongoing development through issue pull request. But there is also the possibility to download the latest release and start from that to give it a try. We have the dev documentation here. If you are interested in the development itself, here there are information also related to the set of tools that you can need. The YouTube videos for previous webinar presentation that we did related to MapStore itself, you can find them there. If you have question or there are some discussion related to MapStore, there are two main lists. We have the MapStore user one and the MapStore developers. The user, as the name says, is more focused on the usage of MapStore itself, while the developers, if you are question on how to develop things or how things could work, to give ideas, also to share your experience and implementation on MapStore. Finally, the online training. Here there is some docs that there are different from the user doc, where you can find step-by-step how to do some, like, for example, create a new downstream project from MapStore, how to create a custom plugin, and general information on the stack of technology, how it works, and how you can install it. Now we can start with the release. So what we introduced in 2023 with the latest 0.2 release. Here the timeline from the 2023. We had two major releases, one on March and the other one on October. And in between, we had 2 minor releases. Usually in the measure, we are making the main features, and in the minor, we are providing bug fixes or hardening of the current code. So this is the usual timeline that we had also previously, and here I represented the latest one. The latest release was on January of this year, and was the 2023 0202. What we introduce? Let's start from the attribute table. The attribute table, we introduce the possibility to persist the hidden or selected column for the attribute. So when you save the map and reopen the map, you keep this information again. Before was a temporary filter to filter the column to have a quick look at that. Right now it's possible. This information is persistent on the map configuration, so you will get the same configuration on the reload. Related to the attribute table, we also introduced for admin user checkbox. So it's possible to disable the possibility to edit content of a layer. So through the layer settings, here it's possible to check this checkbox if you are an admin, and this will prevent other user to edit through the attribute table that layer inside this map resource. We introduce also support for allowed group for editing of the feature grid. This could be configured through the JSON configuration. MapStore works with a JSON configuration, so there is a main JSON file where you can edit this configuration type. And also another interesting addition to MapStore is the introduction of aliases for attribute. So these aliases could be applied per layer inside a map and are localized. So these value then are presented to the final user inside the attribute table, for example. A new plugin, completely new plugin, it's called Geoprocessing Tool. This plugin works through the WPS process. This example works with GeoServer here, where it's possible through the process to have right now 2 operations. We have the intersect, the one that you are seeing here. So based on a layer on the map, it's possible to get a feature or 2 features in case of intersection, and get the results and present them then as a new layer inside the map. In this case, as a vector layer. So with the fact that it's a vector layer, we can use the new style editor that it's working, Visual Style Editor. Could work client side, so apply style to see the final result. The second operation that we have inside the geoprocessing tool is the buffer, and the buffer, as I said, create a buffer. As I said, the name create a buffer in around features, and similar to the intersect, there is this panel that allows the user to add to select the layer that want to use to create a buffer, and the final result is showing in the map as a vector layer. So when I say vector layer, in this case, I mean a GeoJSON layer, a representation of a GeoJSON layer that is embedded then in the map resource. Here there is also the documentation, in-depth documentation that explains step by step how the geoprocessing tool works. Another tool introduced, a plugin introduced inside MapStore, is the longitudinal profile tool. Both the longitudinal profile and geoprocessing are available inside the context, so you can create a viewer through the context wizard that include these 2 plugins. So this longitudinal profile, given DTM layer that has information related to the height information, so as the elevation information inside. It could be DEM or DTM. This kind of layer, the longitudinal profile, it's working with a new plugin, a new extension included in GeoServer. So needs a WPS process available, provided by servers, in this case, GeoServer. And as you can see in the image here, by drawing a line or using an existing layer, you can get the profile of the drawn line or the selected line. And then you can download the content with different type of extension. This example is the GeoJSON format, so one of the one available. A new support related to the catalog. It's a new source type, is COG type for GeoTIFF data. So this is experimental. There is an ongoing work to improve this part. Right now, it's possible to enable it to the from the catalog and add your URLs and point. And using that, you can then add to the map through the catalog and use the default tool for the layer. So change the visualization order on the map and the opacity. As I said, there is an ongoing work to improve also the styling part on this type of source layer. The introduction as for the sharing resources was an improvement to the introduction of the permalink concept in MapStore. So now you don't need to save the map to share a specific state, but as in this example, you can hide some widget, then using the share and move also the map to a different location, and using the permalink section inside the share, you can create a new title and get a new permalink link that will share this current view. So this is not saving the map, but it's a linked resource that could be helpful in case to show temporarily some specific view of a content. As this is the final results, so it's preserved the state of the viewer. Also, the identify template editor, when you have a WMS layer, you can, through the settings in the last tab, change the type of info format that you want to use. Among these, you have also the custom template. It was improvement through the to also facilitate the use of images inside. The images could be also parametric, so you can use feature properties to as a content for, as a content for the SRC of the images itself. So it could be useful to see different images based on the selected feature on the map. The import-export for context, in this case, were we had before for all the type of resources the import and export, and in this new release was introduced also in the context wizard. So if you want to reuse an existing context, you export and then import in a new one. So it makes it easier also to make some tests on installation and to share and reuse an existing configuration without you building from scratch the configuration. The WMS was improved in the open layers And with OP layers here, I mean the 2D visualization inside the viewer. We improved and make more functional the part related to the caching options. We improved the tile grid created in the 2D viewer. So in this case, there is also custom automatic workflow where it's possible to, if it's able to recognize the type of server type, in this case for the GeoServer, it's able to reconstruct the possible tile maxes available and then use the more appropriate for the current projection. So this make also make more also effective to use the caching option on server side, because at the end, this improvement allows a good alignment in between the tile requested client side and the tile expected server side. So it's a good improvement also in performance to the request itself. A new options inside the print plugin was introduced. This option is related to the rotation. So as you can see, there is a new input where you can, with the degrees value, rotate the map and then get that result in the final PDF. So you can decide to rotate in a different direction. Also the node then will switch on the current direction and you will get your rotated map. We improved also the 3D side part, the 3D viewer in terms of the mapping itself, and where it's possible to see widget on top of the 3D map. And these widgets are also updating based on the bounding box that the viewport that the map is showing. So there will be an automatic update of widget based on the navigation inside the map, also in 3D, not just in 2D. The improvement also related to 2D and 3D visualization inside the map resource. Before the visualization of 2D or 3D content was not persisted inside the saved configuration and was more related to the path of the URL of the current viewer. With the latest improvement and the latest release, we removed that part and the configuration itself persists this information. So if you save a map in 3D, this will be persisted and kept in 3D also on the next reload. Improvement also on the interoperability for WMS, introduction of the concept of server type. So there is also server type no vendor, GeoServer. By default, it's if undefined will be used the GeoServer type, and this allows to make correct requests also for tiled true false that could be implemented in different ways inside different WMS provider. So this improvement also included some additional requests that could be performed just once needed, related to the actual list of format provided by the server. So with this improvement, it's more consistent, the relation between the content inside the map and the format provided by the server. There was also some updates related to cesium and open layers. We made this update to make, we always we also keep updated the library to the latest possible release, and also the introduction of the latest 3D types 1.1 in cesium. So we updated cesium to get the the possibility to visualize also in MapStore this kind of layer. And open layers also to improve the drawing system, draw support, and make it easier in the ongoing work to create and improve the workflow for annotation, for example, the creation of annotation. Now, a preview on the ongoing work. So what we are working on and will be provided in the next releases. So in particular, the next measure one. We improved the chart widget where we included the possibility to add multiple traces. This means that you could have, in case of pie charts, multiple pie charts in the same widget. And in case, for example, of, as you can see in the screenshot, of line charts, bar charts, a mix of both, also changing the position of the axis. So I have a custom axis on the right, on the left, that are specific for a trace inside your charts. The improvement was not only the addition of trace, was also a refactor of the UI itself, including also a new styling system where there was addition to the possibility to have a color picker for simple styling of line or bar charts. The same means with the classification. So a classification system that is more aligned with the current Visual Style Editor for styling for the layer itself. We are working on the editing of annotation in 3D. This work was not just introduction of the same tool that we had in the 2D environment in the 3D, but was a reskin and refactor of the actual workflow, including also new states to better understand if a feature is correct or not while you are creating that. We aligned also the style editor to the visual one, so it's possible to have a similar workflow. And this, talking about the 3D environment, this means that you can receive also benefit of some special symbolizer, like the use of GLTF model to represent, for example, the start of a line or the end of a line or a point. So allows a wide range of customization through also the style of an annotation. We introduce also the style classification. We are working on the style classification for WFS and vector layers. Vector layers, we mean here GeoJSON imported in the map or shapefile imported in a map. So the classification symbolizer that before was available only for the WMS layer was also ported to the for WFS vector layer. So it's possible to use one of the available methods that are provided by the client-side workflow. And we have a similar approach to the one that we had in the WMS layer. Finally, here we have and we are working on the possibility to extrude features in 3D. Here you see also another ongoing work, the possibility to have styling by property. So each of the most of the field has an option at the end here that allows you to select if you want to have a static value or get the information from the data. So for example, if the feature has a color information or a altitude information, you can use that. In this case, we use the worker count to extrude the surface. So this make the use of also the styling client side in this case, because he's using a WFS layer to visualize and combine through the classification system that you could generate based on a property-driven visualization. So this could be interesting to make new type of visualization in the 3D environment. This close the current or ongoing work. Here there are user guide specific for the latest release. We have the 2023-0202 with the user guide, so related usage of component new plugin that you can find inside a new release. There is also the one related to developer guide. So if you follow this link, if you are interested in the development itself, maybe also the new latest migration guideline, if you are updating from a previous version, we are documenting there how you can update your project to benefit from the latest plugin improvement and bug fixes. This is all related to the work done on the 2023-02 release and the ongoing work. Now I think we can proceed with questions if there are some of them.
Yes, I'll help us navigate through some of these, and I'll organize kind of by more introductory questions and then graduating to the more complex questions. So a good place to start is from Fabian Fisher. What are the main differences between MapStore and GeoNode?
Okay, the main difference is MapStore itself. The system itself has a front end where you can, let's say, manage the resources like maps, GeoStory and dashboard, and you have the GeoStore backend embedded inside. While that is like you have out of the box the complete product itself. In GeoNode, instead, we use just the front end of MapStore. We integrated inside Django, and there MapStore as a framework, it's communicated with the GeoNode backend. GeoNode it's more like a CM system where you can also upload dataset, for example, something that you can do in MapStore, because MapStore expect that you include from a catalog that is not included in the backend itself of MapStore. So GeoNode it's like a CMS where you have also control on the dataset that you can upload, because the stack included MapStore as a front end, GeoNode to manage resources and user, and then also inside you have a GeoServer. So there is the whole stack that allow also the upload of data itself. MapStore is more like a web.js where you mesh things that are coming from different resources, where these services are outside from the MapStore itself. Hope this answered the question.
Perfect, thanks.
And just to mention that on the GeoNode side, there was a misalignment in between the version of MapStore, and we are currently working to align to the latest release. So both will be in line related to the feature. There are some differences on the feature, like the management of resources, because there are different type of resources inside the two environments. So that's probably the main difference.
Cool, thanks, Stefano. Next question is from Stefan Berger. If MapStore is used as a standalone, does it still need a GeoServer in the background to upload and display geodata layers?
Yes, if you want to add the WMS layer. MapStore itself, you can include, for example, so on GeoJSON, we suggest to keep this a small size when you include GeoJSON. But if you want to add OGC, like OGC services with GeoServer, you need a GeoServer to work in parallel and then synchronize with MapStore. In the documentation, there are some information how you can configure a GeoServer to align the user and the authentication system and they make both interact, in particular for attribute editing and styling for your WMS layer.
Cool, thank you. Next question is from Pramod Harissa. Is there a more recent link to get started with GeoNode? The only one being seen online says version 3.2, and then provides a link.
GeoNode, let me check. I can share the screen. I don't know if I. So for GeoNode, starting for GeoNode, we should have a training link that provide that is this one. That is the training that we are providing in GeoSolutions. So this is the one that we are following. Training.geosolutionsgroup.com. That is the master. So this is the latest that it's providing information for the version 4. So if you're interested to see some documentation here, you can find information related to that.
Okay. Just adding some more to the answer.
No. Maybe I don't know if I paste this in the chat, it's visible for everybody or not. The link. Not sure.
Yeah, I provided a link in one of the
Okay.
as well,
Thank you, Ryan.
Yep. Next question is from Dean Sherwin. Does MapStore support WFST, editing WFS vector feature via the UI and actually updating that feature, geometry, or attributes in the data storage?
I think maybe Lorenzo for this is.
Yes, I'm Lorenzo. For WFST, MapStore supports it by default as you are. The editing functionalities in feature grid are enabled for administrators. This because MapStore, for doing this, take into account that you are using the integration with your server. Basically, the WFST works well if, of course, on GeoServer you are recognized as a user that can write some data and have the permission to do so. In order to do that, MapStore provides, I can link you the documentation about that, the possibility to integrate the users between MapStore and GeoServer. So a user that is recognized, that logs in, a user that logs in on MapStore is recognized also by GeoServer, and GeoServer can allow or deny the permissions to write attributes and edit geometries. I can link in the chat the documentation of the feature grid. Just a second. And of the integration of MapStore, of feature grid of GeoServer and MapStore users. Just a second. Sure. Here, the documentation of the attribute table. And GeoServer. Here, the documentation for GeoServer integration. So the short answer is yes, it's perfectly possible. Of course, to guarantee the permission to write to a certain user, you have to configure something here and there, as described in this documentation reference.
Cool. Thanks, Lorenzo. Next question from Dean. Another question. If MapStore is React.js based, are there any plans to allow hybrid mobile apps for Android, iOS via a system like Apache Cordova?
Yeah, at the moment there is no plan to create a mobile apps. MapStore is available and working with defined configuration that works on mobile well on the mobile browser. So personally, I don't think it's so hard to integrate with it, but of course we have to work like that. We may require sort of work in order to integrate properly the backend, maybe from an external server, because now MapStore relies on the fact that it's a full stack application with a backend and a front end, at least that in its product version, but also on JustStore it relies on the server of just also on Genode. It relies on the backend services of Genode, and in a context of a mobile application, it should rely on a backend or provide support inside the application to the functionality that are missing natively, like for instance, geospatial data or maps or resource storing.
Cool. And then Leaflet, it's support on Leaflet, right? For mobile?
Yes, it also open layers is supported. About this, we worked a little to support both. In particular, open layers became a lot more performant on mobile in the latest releases. So we are thinking about using only open layers, but we are still MapStore is from this point of view is very flexible, so it can use Cesium, Leaflet, open layers, and we in the future, if we some of these libraries are becomes unmaintained, or new libraries with very new and cool features are coming, we have a good infrastructure to replace the functionalities and replace the mapping library with a new different one.
Excellent.
At the moment, it supports both. Okay.
Okay. Yep. And I will emphasize it. You know, some things, features, capabilities, support, etc. Such as this question, if the demand is there, right, we'll typically build it. Especially if there is funding to support that. So,
Yeah.
you know, interest and demand for support on or with integration with Apache Cordova, for example. And if there's substantial demand, then you know we'll expand that support.
Yeah.
And Dean for the questions. David McGee, does GeoSolutions process 3D tile JSON using the Cesium GS 3D tiles tools? I believe the answer is yes, but
we are not using directly 3D tile tools. I mean, we investigated that library because currently we don't have a specific pipeline for 3D tiles. We are experimenting different options, and we tried different library to generate the 3D tiles, but we have not yet a consolidated process and workflow that, let's say, covers most of the use cases. So we had a lot of investigation on that. We also, one of the library that we took a look is the 3D tiles tools, but the 3D tiles tools, this one is more focused, I think, in the merging and managing existing 3D tiles. If you want to generate 3D tiles from scratch, here there are also other options that, let's say, we don't have complete yet this investigation to say there is a consolidated way to process 3D tiles on our side. But if there is interest in that side, we are open also to understand more this process and how to facilitate. I mean, make it easier to complete and create this kind of sources.
Fantastic. Thanks again. David, if you'd like to expand on this conversation, just reach out to me directly or send an email to info@geosolutionsgroup.com and we can schedule a call and get a better idea of desired capabilities, functionality, dig into it more, if that would help. Next question is from Severin Menard. OSM is mentioned as a source as rendered layers, but there is no link to the OSM editors from the mapped client, contrary to other mapping viewers consuming OSM rendering. Is it something you have in mind to implement as a simple plugin? Basically, you just need to provide a B-box to the OSM editors.
Okay, as OpenStreetMap mentioned at the source, there we refer to the OpenStreetMap free tiling services. This means that at the moment there is no, as for the other feature, there is no. I don't know if Stefano is working on something about that, but there is no. On my side, there is no.
Currently, there is no this implementation. I think we saw some requests on that side through the mail list, but for my knowledge, there's no ongoing work on that side. As you're mentioning, it seems so links in between external editors to allow easily to modify OSM viewer. Not for my knowledge right now. There is something on that side.
Yeah, there is, for now, OpenStreetMap as a source is referred to the tiling services so provided by OpenStreetMap itself, the open servers. Yeah, for the editors, if someone wants to, of course, to contribute or ask, we are free. We are happy to get fun with it.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks, Severin, for the question. Again, if you'd like to expand on this, or if this leads to additional questions, just reach out to us at info@geosolutionsgroup.com, and we'll be happy to explore it further. Next question from Pramod again. Is everything available in MapStore available via the GeoNode MapStore client?
The answer is not everything. It's available on GeoNode MapStore client for two reasons. The first one is GeoNode MapStore client. It's currently using an older version of MapStore, but we are solving that by aligning to the latest master. So there is an ongoing work to do that. There was also a missing part, so the concept of context inside GeoNode, and we are currently working on that. There are some differences in between the two environments, so we could not port everything, like let's say the saving system that we have in MapStore, we needed to refactor that in GeoNode MapStore client, or the visual side editor integrated with resources that come from GeoNode. That said, the idea is to make these two the front-end part as much as aligned as possible. So the idea on our side is to make the two viewer really the same, but obviously with difference related to the stack of technology behind and the environment itself. But there is work that is going that direction to make what is available in MapStore also available in GeoNode MapStore client. That's the idea. Unfortunately, now there is no this alignment yet because of different design that we are trying to work on to align.
Excellent. Thanks again. Next question is from Desiree. Are you thinking of supporting IFC format or RVT format now that you're supporting 3D format?
The answer is yes for IFC. There is actually a pending pull request, so it's an ongoing work related to IFC. We are working to integrate it in Cesium itself. So we are working on a workflow to allow through the catalog to include that as an external source inside the map, where you can query each component through the identify MapStore. So it's an ongoing work. I'm not sure in which release will be included, but we are working on that.
Excellent. Next question is from Fabian. Do you have a vast plan when you will update the MapStore version in GeoNode this quarter, this year, or next year? Is there kind of a like a master release schedule?
I think this is more a question to the GeoNode side for the, let's say, management of the side, but we want for sure have an update, a major update that align the latest, let's say, master. So when we will have the next major release of MapStore, I'm saying I think because I'm not directly following that side, but we want to align with the latest MapStore. So based on when we will have the major release on MapStore, probably we will have also the one on GeoNode side.
All right, great. Next question is from Matthew Cyphus. The profile tool is impressive. I want to confirm that it can create a profile from either a drawn line or a selected feature. What about a small portion of a feature, such as a part of a road or a trail centerline?
I can reply. Maybe I can also share the screen if I'm allowed. Maybe
you wanted to show this one?
Yes. Yes, if there is a video, I have also the tool.
This one.
On the.
I think this one is allow you to select a line of a road.
Yes, there is a video. I have also the tool.
Do you
anyway,
prefer? I can.
No.
Stop.
It's okay. It's okay. Also the video. It's okay. And as you can see, it's possible. And about the portion of the feature, you can select also vector feature if I remember well. So you can maybe use combine the usage of the geoprocessing tool to, for instance, create buffers or cut some features, and then create a portion of a line, for instance, to create the longitudinal profile. Or you can upload a file. Here, for instance, here you can load a file. So GeoJSON, DXF, and ship files are supported. So you can also draw your line or export, edit somehow, and use it as an input for this tool. So you can technically, yes, you have to play a little bit with it, but it's also good suggestion for the future in order to add additional features. Thank you for the impressive.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a nice compliment. And again, Matthew, if that leads to more questions, feel free to reach out to us. We can dig in further. The next question is from Facundo. Are there any major changes introduced because of the update of the open layers and Cesium dependencies, or is it mostly a QOL update?
Both, in particular Cesium, because we were following and to get the latest, let's say, version of 3D tiles available. In particular, because we also there is some video, I think, the usage of Google photorealistic 3D tiles, so we were able to render those also inside MapStore. And open layers, I think the latest version introduces some more let's say, allows us to improve the drawing of features on the map. So our main usage was on that side. But we also updated just to have the updated version at the time that when we created the release. So was both of, let's say, aspect of that. So some needs on new version of available sources and improvement of interaction, but also to have at the time the latest version.
Excellent. Thanks, Stefano. Another question from Pramod, and I believe this is related to the link that you provided earlier. The OVA file under training, is it the most recent one because it fails to start?
I'm not sure that about that. Maybe I will give a feedback to people on that side to double check on that part. Usually
Yeah.
it should be the latest one. I mean, if it is mentioning the OVA inside the training of Geonode, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. In training of MapStore, there is no VA file.
Okay. So I will write a feedback to verify that, and in case we will update the version. But usually it should be the latest one.
Okay, cool. And we forwarded another question from Pramod directly to info. So we might want to keep this question in mind.
Okay.
Next question is from Stefan Overkamp. It's great that you can now position 3D models like planned wind turbines in the 3D map. Is or could there be some more documentation to these new features like underground models?
Related to underground models, right now, also on that side, there was some investigation ongoing work to understand how to visualize and how to manage component on the underground. We have this related to the documentation. We have the documentation related to the development side, where we explain how a symbolizer could be composed. But there's probably some documentation related to the possibility through the map views tool, where you can clip a portion of the globe. So in that case, you can see something underground. There's still some work to do, and also in the side, so if there is interest on that, probably we can extend and investigate more on that side, because the navigation on Cesium right now has a collision through the terrain. We verify that it's possible to configure some way. We make some investigation on that side. I don't think there is still ongoing work on that part, but it's something of interest, and probably it's not documented yet because there is not still a feature yet on that side. I think the only way right now to achieve a similar solution is to use the map views plugin that is documented, and there is a way to clip the globe to visualize what's underground.
Right, roger that. Thanks again. And again, Stefan, if you'd like to explore this further or dive into it with more detail, reach out to us at info@geosolutionsgroup.com. Next question is from Jacqueline. What is the usefulness of the QGIS GeoNode plugin?
Okay, this is more related to GeoNode side. The use of the QGIS plugin was to allow us to, let's say, as a service, external service, to include and visualize, I think also interact with layer that coming from GeoNode service. So you can use the desktop QGIS to interact with a GeoNode instance. So I think that was the main purpose of the QGIS plugin. Anyway, if you want more info related to that plugin, there is also the GeoNode user list, where it's possible to ask to the developer of GeoNode more on the backend part and this kind of tool to have more insight on that component itself.
Fantastic. Thanks for your question, Jacqueline. Next question's from Morton Blummer. What about vector tiles?
Vector tiles there was a work related to vector tiles where we let's say make a proof of concept implementation through the OpenLayers library that was taken advantage of WMS. So there is initial work done and experimentation done on downstream project from MapStore. There's no an implementation available yet, official, so there's no vector tile implementation. And also because we are using Cesium, there is interest on vector tiles. If there are some needs and use case that could be of interest, we are happy to investigate more on that part. But right now, the focus, I think, related to vector data and 3D data was more related to 3D tiles itself. As I said, we did some experimentation, were feasible through the OpenLayers library, were a bit more difficult on Cesium part, but there's no unofficial, let's say, implementation of MapStore for this kind of source right now.
Okay, thanks again for your question, Morton. We'll leave it open for a couple more minutes. If anyone has any last minute questions, looks like there's still probably 50 plus attendees. Don't be shy if you have questions. I think we still have another 10 minutes blocked out. I do want to say thanks again for attending, and stay tuned through the GeoSolutions blog, LinkedIn, social media outlets, etc. We'll be featuring additional webinars similar to this one going forward. I'm looking forward to showcasing a few of our customers. We've done a few in the past, such as Cleveland Metro Parks and their MapStore implementation, involving all of their facilities mapping, trail mapping, etc., which is highly dynamic. We've also featured Sea Island Software, who manages the HurEvac application for hurricane evacuation and storm modeling in real time, which is pretty impressive, as well as Overwatch, who does aerial-based wildfire modeling, again, for evacuation emergency management scenarios. So we have several customers using open source geo software in a lot of different ways, and we continue to feature the customers that we support on webinars to give you a good idea of what's possible. Again, we'll be at Geo Week next week, Fed Geo Day for those of you in the US federal community or a local government as well. That's in DC at the Yates Auditorium on April 30th. And we'll be at GeoInt, several other GIS events. You'll see us at Big Phos4G in Brazil, Phos4G North America, likely in St. Louis. So stay tuned to our webpage and tune in as we move forward. There's a lot of relevant, valuable information we'll be sharing throughout the year. We do have some more questions trickling in. Lorenzo and Stefano, if you're still there.
Yeah.
Odd, is there a video explaining how to get started with GeoNode MapStore development? There's one from 3 years ago related to just MapStore. Do we have any other video resources to help people get started?
Right now, I'm not sure because, I mean, we are providing training for the GeoSolutions how to develop so guys, I'm not sure if there are official one published on YouTube yet. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a good question. In general, we continue to kind of beef up and bolster the educational resources that are out there. So Pramod, I'll keep this in mind. And in general, a lot of the resources that we have should be on the YouTube channel, especially getting started, as well as within the documentation. So I'll take note of that and follow up internally and see what we can do to update some of our resources especially our video resources. Severin has another question. Is it possible to retrieve images and videos from a hyperlink in the feature info window?
Yeah, for sure. The images is one of the improvements that has been provided in. It was part one. It was in one slide, if I remember well. Basically, the template system inside the picture info allow to use some attributes from the picture in order to compose the URL of the final image. So you can include the image. For the video, I don't think it's supported yet. It's a good idea for the future. You can for sure embed something in several pages. I'm not sure about the feature info. I think that at the moment it's not possible, but it's a good improvement that you can suggest. For the images, yes, for sure.
Yeah, right now, no, there is no possibility to add an iframe. So right now it's the latest implementation introduced in the release was related to images. So the UI is not providing yet the possibility to embed
A video. Okay.
Yeah.
So images for sure, yes, and you can also rely on the attributes of the feature to compose the URL.
Cool. Thanks again, Severin, for the questions, and we'll keep note of feature requests such as this for future development. Another question from Morton. Will the feature editor be available in the mobile version?
Yeah, at the moment, it's not available because it requires the design requires a bigger screen because it has it's a table and it requires some interactions like double clicks and so on. And at the moment, it's not available. You can try by editing the configuration if it fits for your special use case to enable the feature editor on the mobile because everything is configurable on MapStore. But in general, we keep it disabled because it may be hard, for instance, if you have many attributes to handle them in a small screen. So we disable it by default. In general, all the features that may not work well or be sufficiently adaptable in mobile version are disabled in order to provide a better experience.
Excellent. Thanks, Lorenzo. That's pretty much it. Unless there are some last minute questions, we'll stay on a couple more minutes. Feel free to ask. And again, we are 100% happy to support you, provide help where we can on anything, open source related to GeoServer, GeoNode, MapStore, GeoNetwork, hybridized GIS, interoperability, anything that involves open source geo, reach out to us anytime. And we're happy if we don't know the answer, we're happy to, provide guidance and connect you with somebody in the community who can help you out. So, yeah, it's info@geosolutionsgroup.com. You can also submit through our webpage. And obviously we're highly active in the community pages as well for each of the projects. So with that, unless there are any additional questions, I want to thank Stefano and Lorenzo again for your knowledge and your assistance in your presentation today. And thanks again to all the attendees for joining us, and stay tuned for the future webinars throughout the year. We provide them pretty much monthly, somewhere in there. So stay tuned, and we'll keep you updated on when the next webinars are. With that, I'll go ahead and conclude. Thanks again, everybody, for joining.
Thank you also to you, Ryan.
All right. Have a great evening or a great day wherever you are, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thank you very much.